Here's something a lot of students miss early on. A business doesn't exist in a vacuum. It exists inside a world, and that world is constantly pushing back. PESTEL is the framework for understanding that world. 6 external forces that shape every single market. And when these forces shift, businesses either adapt or die. 6 factors. Know them all. Let's go through each one. First 2, political and economic. Political factors are about government. Trade policy, taxes, subsidies, all of that determines what it costs to operate. Mandates, bans, political stability, these decide whether your business can even exist in a given market. Political environment either incentivizes business or shuts it down. Economic factors are about the health of the economy itself. Inflation, unemployment, interest rates, these are the signals. And household income levels matter because they determine how much customers can actually spend. The bottom line, most businesses thrive in a strong, stable economy. When the economy is sick, customers spend less, costs go up, and margins get squeezed. AP exam alert on this one. FRQ will give you a scenario and ask you to identify a specific PESTEL factor and explain how it impacts a business's viability. Any of the 6 can show up in that scenario, so build one concrete example for each, starting with these 2. Next 2, social and technological. Social factors are about people, who they are and how they behave. Consumer demographics, cultural norms, lifestyle trends, population growth rate. These determine whether there's even a market for your product. If nobody in your target area has the lifestyle that fits your product, you have no customers. Technological factors are about the tools available. Internet access. Are your customers even reachable online? Automation of production. Can you make things faster and cheaper? Rate of technological innovation. Is your industry being disrupted right now? Think about it this way. Social tells you who your customer is. Technological tells you how you can reach them and serve them. Both shape what's viable. Last 2, environmental and legal. Environmental factors are about geography and the physical world. Geography and climate affect where you can operate. Renewable and non-renewable resources affect what inputs are available and at what cost. Waste management policies determine what you're required to do with byproducts. And one more that's easy to miss. Consumer environmental perspectives. How customers feel about the environment. Whether they prefer green products, whether they judge a company's footprint, that counts as an environmental factor too. It's not just nature. It's how people think about nature. Legal factors are the rules of the game. Employment and consumer laws set what you can and can't do with workers and customers. Intellectual property protection determines whether your innovations are safe. And antitrust laws, these directly affect operating costs and how aggressively you can compete. Geography and law set the boundaries of business. You can have the best product in the world, but if the legal environment bans it or the geography makes it impossible to deliver, it doesn't matter. Knowing the 6 factors is only half the job. The real skill is applying them. Here's how PESTEL actually works in practice. Step 1. Identify which factors are relevant for the specific market you're analyzing. Not all 6 are equally important in every situation. The exam will give you a scenario, and you pick the ones that apply. Step 2. For each relevant factor, ask, is this an opportunity or a risk? A new government subsidy for clean energy? Opportunity. A new regulation that bans your core ingredient? Risk. Step 3. Use that assessment to decide whether to enter a market. You want to operate where PESTEL factors align with your business model, not fight against them. And remember, PESTEL isn't static. When these factors change, business viability changes with them. A business that was viable last year might not be viable this year if the political or economic environment shifted. AP exam alert. Given a scenario, identify which PESTEL factors apply and explain their impact. That's the FRQ format. Practice that exact move. Here's the part students don't always think about. PESTEL doesn't just affect businesses. It affects you. When businesses are viable and growing, they hire. More career opportunities open up. When businesses contract or shut down, jobs disappear. That gray rock on the right, economic downturns causing layoffs. That's your E factor in PESTEL, directly hitting job availability. Not just a business problem, a people problem. PESTEL shifts alter job availability across entire industries. The technological factor, wiping out a type of job. The political factor, opening up a whole new sector. These forces shape what careers even exist in 10 years. So when you're doing your PESTEL analysis, you're not just analyzing a business. You're reading the environment that your future career is going to live in. 6 factors, 1 framework, infinite applications. Political, policy, and government incentives. Economics, stability and spending levels. Social, demographics and cultural norms. Technological, production and communication systems. Environmental, geography, resources, customer values. Legal, laws, regulations, operating costs. All 6 feed into one thing, business viability. Can this business actually survive and make money in this environment? Lock in the acronym. Lock in one concrete example for each factor. That combination gets you through any PESTEL question on the exam. Topic 1.3 done. Now, where do business ideas actually come from in the first place? Topic 1.4, entrepreneurship and new ideas. Every business starts with one person and one idea. That person is called an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur develops a new business. Simple enough. But here's the part that actually defines them. They assume risk in pursuit of potential rewards. That word, assumes, is doing a lot of work. An entrepreneur doesn't know if it's going to work. They're betting on it. They're putting in resources, time, money, energy, with no guarantee of getting anything back. That's the deal. Risk in exchange for the possibility of reward. So where does the idea actually come from? 4 strategies entrepreneurs use to find opportunities. First, observe potential customers. Watch how people behave. What are they struggling with? What workarounds are they doing that shouldn't be necessary? Observation surfaces problems that people haven't even consciously named yet. Second, interview and survey potential customers. Go ask directly. What frustrates you? What would you pay to fix? This is where you get specifics. Third, market and technical research. Look at what gaps exist in the market. What's being underserved? What new technology makes a previously impossible solution now possible? Fourth, experimentation. Build something, try something, develop a new capability, and see what it unlocks. Sometimes the idea comes from the experiment itself. None of these is better than the others. The best entrepreneurs use all 4. Okay, reality check. Bringing a new product to market costs resources, financial resources, money, physical resources, equipment, space, materials, human resources, people, and their time. All of these have costs, real costs, and they have to be spent before you know if the product is going to work. On the other side of that scale, a question mark. No guarantee of sufficient revenue. The risk is that costs exceed revenue. You spend more building it than you ever make selling it. This is the fundamental entrepreneurial risk. Resources are certain. Revenue is not. That's why most new products fail. Not because the idea was bad, but because the math didn't work out. Understanding this risk is exactly why hypothesis testing from topic 1.1 matters so much. You validate before you commit big resources. So if the risk is that real, why does anyone do it? 3 reasons. And these are the actual motivations behind entrepreneurship. Potential to earn future profits. The upside. If it works, you capture the value you created. That financial reward is the most obvious motivator. Satisfaction of solving a problem. Some entrepreneurs aren't primarily in it for the money. There's genuine fulfillment in seeing a real problem disappear because of something you built. Ability to pursue a passion. Doing the work you actually care about, building in a space you'd spend time in anyway, is a reward in itself for a lot of founders. Usually it's some combination of all 3. But on the exam, if they ask you why an entrepreneur accepts risk, these are your 3 answers. Now, how does an entrepreneur actually turn an idea into a validated product? Design thinking. The process is observe, interview, survey, then validate. You start by watching and talking to potential customers, not pitching to them. Listening to them. What problems do they have? What does their day actually look like? Then you validate. And validation means evidence, not assumption. This is key, and it's starred on the slide for a reason. What are you validating? 3 things. The problem exists, it's clearly defined, and it affects multiple customers. Not just one person, multiple customers. Because if it only bothers one person, it's not a market. AP exam alert. Hypothesis testing is required before committing resources. That's a common FRQ scenario. They'll give you a situation where an entrepreneur skipped validation and ask you what went wrong, or ask you to explain what they should have done first. Problem validated. Now you develop a solution. 3 steps. Brainstorm potential solutions. Don't filter yet, just generate. Then sketch concepts. Start giving the ideas a shape. Then build a prototype, the first physical or tangible version of the solution. That prototype has one job. Address the validated customer problem. Not every feature you thought of. Not the premium version. Just, does this solve the problem we confirmed was real? Brainstorm, sketch, prototype, in that order. Each step narrows you from chaos to something testable. That prototype becomes your MVP, minimum viable product. The simplest version of your product that can actually be tested. Not the finished version. Not the ideal version. The minimum version that still works well enough to put in front of customers and get real feedback. And it doesn't have to be a full product. It can be a sketch, a description, a model. Whatever is the fastest and cheapest way to get customer reaction. The AP exam alert on this slide is important. Know both validation stages. Stage 1, validate the problem exists. Stage 2, validate the solution via MVP. 2 separate steps. Students mix them up, validate the problem. Then build the MVP, then validate the solution, in that order. Skip either validation and you're flying blind. 4 steps, 1 through line. Entrepreneur assumes risk and seeks reward. Generate ideas through observation, research, and experimentation. Develop a solution by brainstorming, sketching, and prototyping. Test the MVP to validate the solution. That's the full entrepreneurial process in one slide. Idea to validated product. And zoom out for a second. Look at how 1.3 and 1.4 connect. PESTEL tells you what the external environment looks like. Entrepreneurship is how someone looks at that environment, finds a gap, and builds something to fill it. Same world, 2 different lenses. That's episode 2. If this clicked, hit like and subscribe. Episode 3 is coming next. Let's keep building.